Welcome back to another episode of the Cold Blooded Caffeine podcast. I'm Trey.
And I'm McKendrick.
All right, we've got an exciting show lined up for you this week. We're going to talk about a topic that is really, really important to both of us, to me in particular, and I'll tell you why that is. But we're going to talk about customer service. And as a small business, why it's important to focus on customer service, and also how customer service differs in each of kind of our business segments as a coffee roaster, as someone who does like trade shows, and then also as a coffee delivery service.
Yeah, so, and I think that it looks and feels different also from the customer as well, right? So you have to make sure you're somewhat catering to that customer's need, or making sure you're like operating in the right space when it comes to customer service, because you could be doing something great, but if it's not really what the customer needs, then right. So
yeah, and so for me, my background is customer service and account management, and so that's where I cut my teeth in the corporate world, and so it's interesting how some of those skills translated, but also some of them were specific, like large corporation business to business customer service can be quite a bit different than dealing with individual buyers within a retail market. So there's certainly things that I learned that are the same, and some of them are quite different.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about, like you mentioned, McKendrick, each of those different things, how they translate to specific customers, and then hopefully we can come up with some examples to show how we responded when things don't always go perfectly.
Right. And of course, as consumers, right, we understand like there are certain levels of service that you expect when you're, shopping or doing different things. So we thought it would be good to just kind of analyze our business categories, because we really have, different categories that we support, and understanding what's important in each of those lanes. So from there, I think we just kind of jump in.
Kick it off. Okay. So something that I think is important to note before we get started is our general view towards customer service. And I think, the old adage that the customer is always right is something that you hear all the time.
Yeah.
And I will never be rude to a customer. Like, I don't think there's any place to be rude or disrespectful to a customer as a small business, right? I think that it is our job to cater to the customers as much as possible. Will I go to so far as to say the customer is always right? No, I don't think the customer is always right in every circumstance, but I think the customer needs to feel listened to and needs to leave with satisfaction in that outcome. Right. So whatever we decide needs to be to a point where it's mutually agreed upon that this is the best solution. And that doesn't always mean that they get everything they want.
Always, right. I mean, always is really too rigid, right? That's too rigid of a word to say that they're always right. Because there are some folks out there, let's just be honest, that are, not good customers, or not good
looking for a handout,
right?
or looking for
there's people there to take
advantage. Yeah.
So we're always mindful of that, and we're not going to do anything that would compromise our business just to satisfy someone else's, either desire to take advantage of us or doing something a little bit underhanded. So,
but there are, most of the time we're going to bend backwards for a customer to try and continue that relationship, right?
I mean, we're in a service industry. Coffee is like 100% a service industry, and each of these segments that we're going to talk about will highlight that.
And coffee, you can get coffee from any number of places, right? So in order for us to be successful, we strongly believe that our customer service needs to be top tier. World-class customer service.
Yep.
All right, so let's kick it off. What do we got first?
So, I thought we would start with what people know and are familiar with, which is Cold Blooded Caffeine e-commerce orders, right?
Okay, that makes sense, I think. Yeah.
We have an e-commerce brand, as most of you know. If you saw some of the videos from last year, we've actually shipped to every state in the United States, which is actually pretty cool, and Canada, and a submarine or a ship or a vessel or something that was. But when you think about the customer service expectations for your e-commerce brand, there are a couple of things that come to mind, right? And I would think at the very top of that is order accuracy.
Yeah.
If you're placing an order for anything online, regardless of what it is, you want not only to see and have an accurate description of what you're buying, but you expect that what you get is what you ordered.
I'll go as far as to say is if you have to talk to a person, then we did something wrong, right? Like if
to a certain extent,
to a certain extent, right? If you're trying to order something online and either you're not able to locate what you want, or you didn't receive what you thought you were supposed to get, or didn't receive what you ordered, then and you have to contact me, then that's already like a ding against my customer service, right? So just kind of setting the stage there. Online orders, e-commerce should be transparent. It should be order receive, order out, and that's it.
You got what you want, the quantity that you want it, right? So I think that order accuracy, there's no way around that. Like when you're ordering something, you want to get what you ordered, right? And then I would say second to that would be the quality of what you're ordering. Like you want to make sure, one, that there's consistency. Like if I've ordered this thing, in our case coffee, before, I want to make sure that the same quality that I received the first 1 time, 10 times, 100 times is what I can expect every time I get it. Right? Which is why you have to build processes around what you do and how you do it to make sure you're able to do it consistently.
And I think also towards quality, the quality of product that you receive reflects the price that you paid for it.
That's a good point.
So that's, again, with e-commerce, you're not seeing a physical product in your hands when you're buying it. So you're trusting that company to represent that item in a way that it's actually the item that you're going to receive.
Right.
And so, I think we all have probably received something that we're like, this is a little
not
shoddy.
Or, yeah.
So especially with a specialty coffee e-commerce brand, we take it very seriously that we are shipping product that meets the quality standards that you expect from that price that you're paying. So
right. And that price point, to your point earlier, right? It's the value. Like people can or will pay more for certain things that they feel are more valuable to them. And that's your prerogative. We fully understand if, Cold Blooded Caffeine isn't for everyone. I get that. There are some people, we've done videos before that talks about, the cheaper coffee that's used as, what is the term?
Commodity grade coffee.
Commodity grade coffee or lead
cost
what's the word?
Loss
leaders, right? And if that's, again, your prerogative. Like if you know either your budget or your desire isn't to pay more than $5 for a bag of coffee, I get it. The value isn't there. You're not looking for the best quality product. You just want a cup of coffee, or maybe you don't even know the difference in
I think,
of the taste.
I think that's the level of expectation in the customer service return. Like, I don't think you really have a whole lot of leg to stand on if you're buying $5 coffee and like bag of coffee and saying, oh my goodness, it doesn't taste good. Well, yeah, no, it wasn't going to ever taste good. Right? Like, that's just the way it is.
If you look at like a standard across the board, like you're not seeing like a $5 bag of coffee.
But if you're spending $15 to $20 for a bag of coffee, you should expect for it to taste
like a $15 or $20
bag of coffee.
Yes.
So yeah, I agree. So okay. So that's really the I mean, of course, other things are important with e-commerce, just across the board, like speed of shipments and making sure that shipments aren't damaged and interactions pre and post sale. So like if you're interacting with us through social media, that's an opportunity for us to engage in customer service. One of the things that I do with every bag of coffee we ship out is I send a little card. Most bags, I don't do it to like some of our subscribers. Like I send like that do like monthly subscriptions. Sometimes I won't do that because I bombard them like every month with like this kind of the same. I run out of stuff to say.
Right.
But I try to write a handwritten note with, especially like new customer orders, to say thank you for order. I write those when I like they're not mass produced. Like I handwrite them right before every shipment that goes out and put them in the box. And so that's an extra little way that we can say, thank you for your order, and an extra way that we can add some customer service onto that.
I can't wait till we get like
10,000 orders a week, and
Right.
my arms falling off.
Right.
Thank you again. You just be like, thanks.
Right. Thanks.
Right now, I'm like, thanks for your order. We hope you enjoy the coffee. And I'll be like,
we love you so
thanks,
much.
T. Right? No.
Oh man.
No, I think it's important
cool.
for us. That's something that's an added touch that not every coffee company has the luxury of being able to do.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things that go into customer service there, but the two most important for us with the e-commerce brand were the accuracy and the quality.
Yeah, and we're focused on kind of like, again, maybe just the top two of each category, and just thinking about how they're different. Based on the customers that we're serving. So that said, anything else to add there?
Well, I was going to say, do you want to talk about what went wrong or what can go wrong in each category? Or do we want to do that in the end?
I mean, we can talk about that. Okay. So for the e-commerce, of course, what can go wrong is a missed shipment, go to the wrong location,
that's
address.
Probably the one that happens the most. Is a shipment either gets delayed in its way to you or it gets lost entirely.
And I remember that we were tracking down, like using tracking numbers to like figure out where it is, how it is shipped. For most orders, the customers are paying for the shipping, right? So we just process the label, put it on, drop it off at a shipping location. Yeah. But there was at least one time I can remember where we had to kind of track down an order, and I'm not even sure if we ended up shipping a replacement for that.
It happens, yeah. It happens not frequently. But like there are, especially like around holidays and things like that, you'll see an increase in like delays within shipments. And so unfortunately we're kind of limited to what we can do in those situations. Like, I can call the post office and I can sit on hold and I can say, hey, where's my package? And they're going to say, what did the website say?
That's exactly what they say, right?
So a lot of times I don't have a lot of options. And so when it comes to locating missed shipments, most of the time it's just a waiting game to see if they can find it. Like sometimes they can put a tracker on it and they can send me updates when it moves, right? So I can put like text notifications on it and I can see when it moves. That's really all I can do. I don't have any more levers to pull than a normal person does in terms of like,
and they are heavily dependent on the system and those scans as well. That was one of the things I remember that we've had in the past where holiday time comes around and there's so many orders that are going out, not just from us, but just, in general. Yeah. And there's been missed scans. So what would happen is I would drop it off. There's a backlog of boxes that need to be scanned for shipping. And maybe the system is down, maybe someone is out and they're supposed to come back and get caught up and scan everything, and they may have missed the scan. Mm-hmm. So it shows that the label was printed and it never went anywhere for like 2 days. Yeah. And in reality, it was dropped off, but it missed the first scan. It could have even missed the first scan and made it to like a UPS truck or USPS pickup.
And it doesn't get scanned again until it gets into a hub or something.
Yeah. A hub somewhere else, right? So things like that have happened. Yeah. I mean, the most we can do is, as Trey explained, is call to see if we can figure out anything. A lot of times they're just going to direct you to the website. At the end of the day, if it takes just too long and it's lost, we can just provide a missed shipment or another shipment. 90%
of the time, it makes it.
Yeah.
It makes it, and it's an inconvenience, and we understand that, and that's why we're there to try and help facilitate. But most of the time, 90%+ of the time, it's going to make it to the final destination. Yep. When it doesn't, we often do, because we value that customer's experience and we want to make sure that they feel satisfied and feel like they can return to buy coffee again from us if they choose to. We will send a replacement at our cost, right?
Yep.
And that is not something. So I think for some reason, I guess people expect that, like that's a level of expectation, or they get upset like if they don't get that level. And I do want to like clear some air here for a little bit, because this is something that as a customer service professional for nearly 15 years, I'll tell you, it is not, if you pay for shipment, if there's an included shipping, even if it's free shipping, if there's an implied consent that the customer pays for shipping, the company is not legally required replace that shipment.
You're getting into the technical terms
so
now,
so it's
Incoterms.
I mean, well, it would be as part of the Incoterms, right? So
right.
If the customer has implied consent that they will pay for shipping, whether there's free shipping involved or not, if the customer pays for the shipping, then it's the customer. It is the business's responsibility once it gets off the threshold of their building, right?
Actually, not even that. Well,
depending on the Incoterm, it depends on the Incoterm, and we're getting deep. Okay, so this is irrelevant to the customer service conversation, but yes, Go ahead.
No, it's not completely irrelevant to it, but you're right. Like there are definitely terms that determine when the risk basically shifts to the consumer versus the manufacturer, right? And some of it is as soon as it is produced, technically you place it in a location that your shipper, whoever you designated that to be, would come and pick it up, and it's your responsibility from that point forward. If your shipper never shows up, technically that's not our problem based on Incoterms. But I mean, of course,
it also comes down to what's right. What's the right thing to do? Yeah. Does the customer, if we're in Charleston, South Carolina, and you're in Seattle, Washington, does the customer have any control whether UPS shows up in Charleston, South Carolina to pick up that package?
They do not.
They do not. Right. So we tend to err on the side of forgiveness in terms of like we'll try and make that right. We'll try and make you whole.
But
right?
It's an expectation, right? Like it's an expectation that we would make sure it gets taken to a delivery point or picked up by the delivery designation or designee that was determined by the customer.
Now there are exceptions, and this has only happened one time, but we've shipped a lot of packages over the past 4 years. One time has it been abused that we send free coffee.
Oh yeah, that one.
We had, and we're not going to call people's names out. Okay, this is not what this is for.
You know who
you are. No. We had an instance where we were reported that the coffee was not received.
Yep.
I confirmed the address that it was sent to.
Mm-hmm.
I had a receipt, like a delivery receipt from the initial package. But, it happens. It was in an urban area. It could have been dropped off in the wrong building and somebody didn't know. Whatever. Okay, that's fine. No problem. I had the person confirm the receipt, confirm the address again.
Yep.
And then resent the package. I required it for signature. There was a gap of like 3 months between the first shipment and them notifying us that it was never received. Okay, so that was there. So I resent the package with signature required to make sure that it wasn't like just dropped off somewhere and expected to fend for itself. Right. So signature was required. Signature was signed for by the person that it was supposed to be signed for. Mm-hmm. And then like 6 weeks later, I got another email saying it was never received.
Right.
And at that point, I called them out on it. I said, I sent the tracking number. I signed it I designated it for signature. Your signature is the one that was signed. I asked them if they received it. Because after they signed, I saw the signature. I sent an email saying, "Hey, did you receive this?" And they replied back and said, "Yep, received." And then 6 weeks after that,
they said
they didn't receive it.
Right.
And so then I had no other option but to determine that it was fraudulent. And I called them out on it, and they never responded.
Yep.
So it does happen. There are people that are going to try and take advantage. But for the most part, our customers have been absolutely phenomenal. I can count on one hand the number of times that I've even heard the slightest negativity. Right. So thank you to all of you that are fair and
customers. Thanks for ordering.
Yeah. Thanks for ordering coffee. And we do really, really try our best.
I mean,
this is a small business. We try our best to make it the absolute best experience that you can. We're always open to feedback. So if there's anything that happens that you're not 100% satisfied with, please let us know, because it is important to us to remedy those things quickly. Like he owns the business and I own the business, and those are the two people that are going to be touching your order, right? So it's vitally important for us to be able to respond to those types of things so that they don't impact the business later on.
Yep.
All right. Off my soapbox for there.
All right.
Let's move on. So what are we talking about next?
So staying somewhat in the same thread, we're going to talk a little bit about customer service at reptile shows.
This is a fun one.
So,
yeah.
Of course, at the shows, we go to the NARBC in Tinley Park, in Dallas, and St. Louis, which are primarily larger shows and have a pretty significant amount of volume that's coming through.
Correct.
So when you start thinking about what is customer service and service level expectations for the shows, because of volume itself, the one thing that we need to make sure we have as a top priority is speed.
Yeah, and we've focused on that a lot lately.
Yeah.
And you probably have, if you've seen us at shows, we have changed our strategy a bit.
Yeah.
In the recent years to focus on speed, because that to us is the number one priority when it comes to fast casual coffee consumption.
Right. And I think we were like somewhat far from that when we first started, right? We started out actually doing pour overs, which you would actually think from that perspective, our focus was more on
we focused
quality,
on quality. Yeah,
right?
exactly right.
But when you're talking about the volume of people coming through the door, you still had people who we weren't able to serve or that had to wait way too long.
Or people were turning away,
coffee,
right? They were looking at the line and they were like, and going somewhere else.
So speed, of course, became kind of top priority. And as Trey said, we've modified our setup over the course of the years to make sure we're able to meet the expectations of still getting good quality coffee out, but also doing it in a way that we're not, causing you to have to wait or pause.
As with everything, you pull one lever and things have to adjust, right? So you increase speed, quality might go down a little bit, but we're very conscious of that, right? We're trying to still maintain the best value that we can while increasing the speed. So we do try our best. We're using the same coffee, right? We're just doing it a little bit faster to try and get people through the door, or through the line as quickly as possible. So,
correct.
Accuracy, speed is probably the number one thing when it comes to the reptile shows.
And then right on the heels of that, I would say efficiency, right? So we also need to be efficient in how we're processing these orders, meaning we got to have a setup that's conducive to getting people in, get them to what they want, and getting them out so the next person can come in, right? And with that,
it's a flow through the whole process.
Correct.
Not just coffee coming out of the end, but it's feeling like people are taken care of throughout the entire experience.
Right. And considering what we're talking about sugars, creamers, flavors, we're doing teas, like we got a hot chocolate, so there has to be a level of efficiency in that whole process,
and all of that is ever changing, right? We're trying different stuff. So like recently we've added a digital menu board. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, right? We're trying new things. So like the digital menu board was so that you could obviously like prepare your order while you're in line to order, so that you're not getting up to the register and being like, okay, what do you have?
And still fumbling through like.
So that's the efficiency that we're talking about. While it might not impact the speed of the coffee coming out, it impacts the flow of everything of the process. And it makes for a better experience because you kind of know what to expect as you're coming up. You have something to do like as you follow the process through, and then out the other end, your coffee comes quickly, as quickly as possible.
And this is also why we had to change, we're bringing like 3 people typically to Tinley Park just because of the volume, right? Yep. So that's something else we thought about. Okay, what will make us the most efficient? We've actually had 4 people in the past, and it was kind of like... It actually
becomes a little bit of a hindrance, right? Yeah. You're fumbling over, because for those of you that have seen us at Tinley Park, we have a nice area. I mean, we love our spot. It's just there's not a whole lot of room behind the booth.
Correct.
It's not a typical booth where you have 6 by 6 foot behind the booth to mess with. We only have maybe 2 foot,
right?
So you can't pass in front and behind each other very easy.
So you got to have people with like dedicated responsibilities.
You have somebody taking the orders, somebody doing the sugars and creamers and syrups, and somebody actually filling cups, and handing them out. So
yeah, we've kind of optimized that to 3 people, and it's busy for 3 people, which isn't a bad thing. There's downtimes here and there, but
not at Tinley Park.
Well, not at Tinley Park, not so much, but definitely not 4. So those are things that we've done and that you've seen over the years that we've kind of changed and optimized. And I feel like we're light years better than where we were when we first started.
Yeah. But we still have things that we're
there's
learning.
always tweaks that we're looking for, but in these in these type shows, like errors can be made as well. Like sometimes,
of course,
people may ask for a light, and we, put a dark roast in. Like, oh wait, we
hand somebody the wrong order.
Yeah,
the coffee is like because we're not brewing every batch.
Like
for each person,
right.
Coffee might be a little cooler than we want it to be, and like not usually at the big shows because we're flowing through it so fast. But somebody gets the wrong flavor or something. So order inaccuracies are probably the biggest.
Like, yeah. I mean, and there's very few. Like, there's been times when, people wanted it sweeter. Like,
that's probably.
Like people like, can you make this sweeter? Like, sure. Like, give you 13 more pumps of vanilla.
And I don't think that's a.
It's an error.
It's not a knock on
no, not a knock on
it's very hard to judge someone's taste.
Gauge,
like they don't know. Like, how do you describe how sweet I like something?
Right.
Because each person is going to gauge it a little bit different.
And they'll just say, make it sweet.
Make it, right. And so we try our best, and sometimes we guess right, and sometimes we guess wrong. But we tend to want to err on the side of lower, because we can always add more.
Right.
So if you get something from us and you're like, oh, I'd like it a little more milky or a little more sweet, we can always add stuff. We tend to err on the side of less milk or less sweet so that you can add.
We're not, trashing a cup of coffee and starting all over.
But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and then I was going to say the one thing that we did do when we're talking about efficiency that even helped with that was tickets. Mm-hmm. So we started using tickets, and because at first we weren't using tickets.
We would just call out orders. Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know how we did that back in the day, looking back now. But the tickets help because we were able to write it out, give a customer the bottom half of the ticket, and then call out the number once the order's ready.
Do you remember we used to not have people pay up front? Like we would just at the first few shows, we would just take their order and then they would wait and come back and pay at the end.
Oh my gosh.
That was another efficiency improvement. It sounds silly, but we were making coffees and people would never come back.
Yeah.
Right. So that was just so much wasted time. Like not like, again, maliciously, but it was like, they would forget. Like they would go off and they would do something and they would forget, and then we would be we're out of product, like we're out of the cost of that product, but also the time, which was a bigger thing. We could have been making somebody else's stuff.
Yep.
So those are the efficiency improvements. So the biggest thing, I guess, for like how do you correct errors in the trade show is you either, like we talked about, you either add more sweetener or sugar or creamer or whatever else they want, or you can always just make another drink.
Yeah,
like that's probably the easiest thing. It's inconvenient because that person might have to wait again. We of course would prioritize that remake if we could, depending on what it is.
Yeah,
but that's that. I do not have any hesitation with. If someone is not 100% satisfied with that drink, just make
another cup. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, it just becomes that because our efficiency has improved so much. It just becomes easier to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Than to try to figure out what we did wrong. What do we need to add? How do we make it better? Let's just make you another cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And we'll do it in a way that you're included. And
I forgot about hot versus ice. Sometimes we'll mix up. Somebody will say, "I want a coffee," and to me, in my head. That's hot.
Yeah. So Trey forgets to write it on the ticket, and then the rest of the process
or they didn't even say. It's not always Trey's fault. They might just say coffee,
ask.
or I didn't. Yeah, or I didn't ask. Yeah,
but it happens.
There could be mix-ups where,
and that's where we come into play. We drink the coffee.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be iced, not hot.
No problem.
I'll take this one and drink it later. We'll make you another one, sir or ma'am. So But it's cool. Like the reptile shows are always fun, always engaging, always a good time. So,
all right,
we're always happy to that we can support those and provide a high level of customer service. Last one we'll talk about briefly is our delivery service. So as most of you know, we also own a delivery service that supports businesses all throughout the Tri-County, Berkeley, Charleston, and Dorchester County. And
South Carolina.
In South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, not Charleston, West Virginia.
Yep.
Or Charleston, Maine. Is there Charleston, Maine? I don't know.
Charlestown.
So the customer service that we focus on for the delivery service, number one, I would say, is reliability. We need to be a reliable source for our customers to make sure we are delivering timely, accurately, consistently. So they have to be able to rely on us to be their source, because the reality is, I mean, we're providing a service, but
it's luxury.
It's a luxury.
It doesn't
service,
have
right?
to happen.
Like you don't even have to have a coffee as an amenity in your office, right? And now you have it, and not only do you have it, you have a service that is delivering it.
It's like you don't have to drink coffee, so you decided to drink coffee.
Right.
You don't have to have a coffee at your office,
but you do.
You don't have to have a coffee delivery service, but you do.
Right.
We don't want any of those things to fail.
Right.
We don't want you to quit drinking coffee.
Right.
We don't want your company to take coffee away, and we don't want you to stop using our service.
You have to be reliable. You have to be reliable.
And your equipment has to be reliable.
Yep, that's true.
Like
as well.
if a machine goes down,
that means coffee's not being
we're
consumed.
scrambling.
Right.
That is top priority.
Right.
That we get that machine back up, because coffee's not being consumed. People aren't drinking coffee. People start questioning whether coffee delivery service is a required expense.
Right.
That, and so we book it.
Yep.
Right. So
that's
right. Actually right after this call, right after this podcast, McKendrick is going to check on a customer that called about a complaint for a coffee maker. So that is top priority. Reliability, keeping customers stocked, keeping machines running, keeping everybody happy.
Yep. And also the second one that goes right along with keeping everybody happy is, I would say, product availability. And it's not just product, this product equipment availability, right? Making sure that things are available. Like, the one thing you don't want is a customer to have a desire for something. Now, don't get me wrong. We're not going to necessarily provide.
We're not Walmart.
Everything. We're not Walmart. We're not, whatever, Kmart. We're not Target. Like, there are things that we're not going to do. But
we try.
It's
in the lane.
This coffee and coffee accessory lane, then we're going to try our best to provide the service. Because oftentimes what you see is it's much easier to get a current customer to buy more products than it is to even get new customers to buy
100%.
your products.
Yes.
So when customers are asking for more things, then we're trying to be the delivery service that is providing it, because we're already going there.
I saw somebody ask for a scrub brush today.
A scrub brush
for their AirPods. Yeah,
we'll
bring it. Yep, sure, no problem.
We got it.
We'll go to Target and get one, and then bring it. Like but those are the extra little things, I think, that set some people apart, right? Like, we will. I mean, it probably will cost us money in terms of time for McKendrick to go to Target and get a scrub brush and take it to the customer. But it's not all about that bottom. I mean, that's a customer that is now way more likely to ask for more things in the future, things that we have in stock.
Right.
And they're obviously a scrub brush. They want to clean their AirPods.
Right.
They want to drink more coffee.
We're providing that service to them, right? And now, in some uncertain terms, they've become an advocate for us.
Yeah.
Like, when they start looking at things like, no, we can't get rid of the coffee
every time we ask the coffee
right?
run something, they come through.
There.
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
there, right? So we want to continue to make sure that we're providing that, reliability and product availability to our delivery service as kind of the top two customer service focus areas that will, allow us to continue to go in more doors, to maintain our current customer base. And those things are, like you said, like, they're just, that little bit more is what sets you apart from everyone else.
One of the things that just bamboozles me is we have had several customers come over from other services because they couldn't get in contact with them.
Yeah, that's
it
crazy.
Just baffles me that like, you had a customer, that customer tried to contact you to order stuff,
right,
and they couldn't get in touch with you.
Right. I mean, I go into places now, and they're like, "Hey, do you have another contact for this other thing that I have?" And it's like, because we've called and reached out, and they won't answer. And of course, if it's something that I can support and provide, I'm all in. Like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll take care of that for you.
Because I mean, like you said, you made a great point. It is. There's a percentage, I'm sure, somewhere. It is 150% more profitable for us to increase our customers that we currently have than to try and acquire new customers.
Yes.
Acquiring new customers is expensive.
It is.
Adding things to existing customers is free. I just sent an email.
That's right.
Right? Or they are asking anyway, right? Yeah. So those are easy. If there's anything I can do to help, that's the part that it's like a customer calls you and you don't answer them, or emails you and you don't answer them. You're just giving away money. Yep. They're going to go somewhere.
Yep.
They can come to us. That's great. I love when they come to us. It just I can't imagine why from a business standpoint you wouldn't answer customers.
I mean, we just had it happen. We were trying to get some equipment recently, and we couldn't get someone to answer the phone. Yeah. It's like I'm just like,
I want to give you money. I want to give you money. Yeah.
But either way.
So, I mean, I think that's probably, in terms of like a delivery service, things happen all the time. Like there's things that you don't expect in terms of like product availability. That's probably our biggest one, where we have a rush on a certain product that we run out of, and we have to push an order to the next week. And that's unfortunate, but most customers understand, especially if they're like trying to order something that they don't normally order. We do a pretty good job of anticipating what customers normally order. If it's something outside the ordinary that we don't have in stock, most customers understand. But if they say, no, I need it now, then we will go and find
we'll try to figure it out
at a retail, like even if it costs us, like we get stuff from wholesalers, just like Walmart and Amazon and Target and stuff like that. So we can mark it up to a point where it's competitive with those retailers. If we can't get it, then we can go to one of those retailers, pay retail price, and still satisfy the customer. Right. And we have done that on occasion. We don't like to do it, obviously, because we don't make money on it. Yeah. But it's more important to me that customer's happy than it is to make a dollar or two on that.
And we want to make customers whole. Like, we want to deliver an entire order. Yeah. Most customers aren't necessarily waiting to the last minute to order. So a lot of times, if we do have an item that's out of stock, and we notify them, because we maybe just don't have the ability to get it when we want to deliver the rest of the order, they're usually okay with it because they're ordering in anticipation of what they're going to need. But even in those cases, we're still scrambling to try to do our best to deliver orders 100% complete. That's really the reliability portion that we lean heavily on when it comes to our customers. So.
And I mean, the only other thing that I would say with the delivery service is that machines also go out.
Yep.
And those are unfortunate situations where they're just not repairable. Like the one that McKendrick's going to today, I think is fully repairable. I hope
so too.
I hope it's something that we can take care of while he's on site there in a few minutes. There are times when it broke. It broke.
It broke.
Some of this coffee equipment, even though they're made for commercial use, they're not made to be repairable. Well, super repairable, right? So
but either way, but they're not meant to last.
They're not meant to last
right?
forever.
Like, I mean, there's things that we'll need to replace from whatever solenoids or.
I've called that supplier that I just said. And asked, "Oh, hey, I know what broke. Can you send me a replacement part?"
They're like,
"No,
no,
we don't do that.
You got to buy a new machine."
You're like, well, okay.
Wait.
So there's times when machines go out and customers are out of coffee equipment, or could be out of coffee equipment for some time. We do have like loaner units that we can go in, but it's not going to be their typical unit. It's going to be a simplified version so that we can keep them as universally for as many customers as we can. So it's not going to be, maybe not a direct replacement until we can get it fixed. But we always do, that was my point, is we always do try to have something that if a machine goes down, we have something that can sit in its place until that machine can be repaired. So
And I mean, and there are a few other things that can go wrong on the delivery service. I've had some issues where, you know, a sugar and a creamer canister look identical, right? And they're like, hold up, you left me 3 canisters of sugar and I ordered 3 canisters of sugar or creamer, right? And so,
you know,
how did I do that?
In those instances, you know, and something that I've learned, and this is consistent across, like I made a mistake the other day when I ordered the wrong brewer for somebody. All you can do is admit that you made a mistake, accept responsibility for it, and correct the mistake.
And fix it.
Right. At the end of the day, and I think it says a lot about people. My wife was actually talking about this the other day. It says a lot about people, how they respond when they have the upper hand, when they have the power.
Right.
Right. And so all you can do if you've made a mistake is you admit the mistake, you correct the mistake as quickly as you can, and you try and prevent that mistake from happening again. And that person that holds the upper hand is going to respond how they're going to respond.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Other than just say, you know, yes, we understand. Yes, we, you know, we'll do our best. And again, we haven't had any customers that like we
left. We haven't lost.
We deal with business to business customers, right? So like most of our customers on the delivery side are professional adults, successful, you know, have careers. So we're not dealing with people that are just on the delivery side malicious most of the time, right? But you know, there may be a day that comes where somebody is rude or direct or anything like that, and we'll just have to take what happens. It's part of business, right?
Yep.
That you have to be able to take those and understand that there's only certain things that are inside your control, and you are responsible for those things. But outside of that, the chips will fall where they fall. So.
And we've never lost a customer over any of our customer service. Like, and that, and you know, kind of in summary, as we wrap up, like across any of these platforms, like we've really not been in a situation where we've like just totally lost a customer because of our level of customer
that
service
we know of. I mean,
for sure on the delivery service side.
Yeah, for sure.
I know everyone that we deal with, and of course, people budgets change or people change, leadership changes. Those type things can bring a wrinkle into we've had them continuing to use us, but outside of that,
we've had a couple of interesting reviews on the Cold Blooded Caffeine website, but they were never for. Like we had the one where the guy was mad at at one of our affiliates and made a negative review because he didn't like the affiliate.
Yeah. So that's again,
and that's not on us. That's nothing I can do. Yeah. Like it, you know, it is what it is. That person needed to feel like they wanted to rant on a company's website that they didn't like this person. Who will never see that review, by the way. Like that person isn't like, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, even if they did, even if I put it up there proud, I mean, they said some bad language. So
yeah,
I will accept any negative review that you want to give. And I will leave it posted on the website. That is fine. If you have a legitimate claim to say this deserves a 1-star review, it'll stay on the website. Like, I'm not going to hide it from people because I want people to be transparent about what, you know, the product they're going to receive.
Right.
However, if you use adult language and attack someone that's not related to our company at all, then did I say adult language? That's my son's filter.
Yes, adult languge.
You're not allowed to use adult language. That's my parenting filter. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I think it's important to be open and transparent and try and resolve issues as thoroughly as possible. But you know, the moral of the story is you can't satisfy everyone. This world is full of people from all different walks of life. You can try your best to be a good person and to run a good business and to be transparent and open and honest and ethical. And that's all you can do at the end of the day. That is what customer service is to me, is to try and make the customer as happy as possible and to come to an equally understanding resolution to the problem. So.
So there you have it. So
There you
those
go.
are kind of our top priorities across our different categories of what customer service means to us and what our primary focus areas to make sure our customers stay happy.
Yep.
Across each segment. So
if we missed anything, if you think some priorities were different, open the conversation. Let's have a conversation about it. Drop some comments. Yeah, let's talk about it. But I think that is it for this week. So let's outro it out. Cold Blooded Caffeine Podcast is brought to you by Cold Blooded Caffeine Company, your source for high-quality specialty roasted coffee with a wildlife conservation mindset. With a lot of 5-star reviews and one weird negative review about some affiliate. Go check us out today at coldbloodedcaffeine.com. Also brought to you by The Coffee Run, coffee delivery service, your source for that, not your source, serving the low country of South Carolina, Charleston, and the surrounding areas. Check us out at coffeerundelivery.com. We'd be happy to serve you. All right, McKendrick, it's been fun.
Until next time.
All right, we'll see you next time.